I've been driving a 2025 Hyundai Ioniq 5 for over 18 months now. I've put over 14,000 miles on it. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you the top 5 features I cannot live without with my 2025 Ioniq 5 Limited. I'll also tell you 5 other features that I can completely live without. If you're newer to the channel, you may not know that before this 2025 Ioniq 5, I owned a 2022 Ioniq 5 SCL all-wheel drive, which I then sold right after I purchased the 2025. So for over 3 years, I lived with an SCL which had fewer features than the top limited trim. And after living with a limited trim for the last 18 months, I'm not sure I could ever do a downgrade again. So let's start with number 5, ventilated seats. Now, this is a feature that I had in a previous life when I used to own a Mazda CX-5, got really used to it. Then I went to the Ioniq 5 SCL, which didn't have it, and I sorely missed it. But being back in the limited trim, especially now in the summertime, I am using it daily. We've already had multiple 100-degree plus days this summer, high humidity, so it is really nice to have that feature again. My one quibble is that you have to turn it on every time you turn on the car. It does not remember the last setting from when you turn the car off, and I think that's really annoying. Number 4, the Vision roof, the panoramic glass. It is so nice. It lets in so much natural light into the cabin. It's nice that it has a sunshade. On really bright days, if it's approaching noon, I will shut the shade just because I don't want my bald head here getting inundated with UV rays. I know this or the previous feature aren't unique to the Ioniq 5, but they are really nice features, and they do make the car feel a little bit more high-end. I think for me personally, it's either panoramic glass roof or no sunroof at all. I'm really not keen on opening a sunroof because then you just let all that UV in and it just really cooks you. My last gas car, the Mazda CX-5, had an opening sunroof and I just never opened it. Plus, once you have it opening, then you have the channels that you have to have drain tubes for. They can get clogged and then the water backs up. It's just overall not something I want to deal with. Number 3, parking collision avoidance assist. Now, what this does is when you're pulling into a parking spot or backing into a parking spot or something, it will automatically stop the car if you are about to hit something. Now, this has been super useful living in an apartment complex. We have a parking garage in our building. Oftentimes, they have all sorts of weird objects placed in front of the car. So when I'm pulling into my spot, it's kind of hard to judge how much space there is. So basically what I do when I pull in, I just keep going. The beeping starts to get quicker and quicker and quicker, and then it will be a solid beep, and then it just slams the brakes. Works perfectly every time. Now, my 2022 SCL did have this, but it was only in reverse. Only, I believe, the limited trim, maybe XRT, has this feature. So if you are looking at an SCL, it's not going to have that feature, unfortunately. But yeah, I do really like it, and it has saved me quite a few times in our parking garage. Same thing can't be said for the Ioniq 6, which doesn't have that when pulling into the parking spot in the garage. I did hit my pedal on my bicycle once, so that did a little bit of damage to the front of the Ioniq 6, but it is what it is. It also does this on the side too, so if there's going to be a side impact, it will stop the car as well, but that hasn't really been a big savior for me with any situation. Number 2, and this is one I was not thinking I was going to like so much, digital rear view mirror. So basically what the system is, there's a camera mounted on the spoiler in the back of the car. It eliminates any blind spots. In the rain, you can see completely clearly. And it has just really been my primary way of seeing out the back of the car. You can flip it into manual mode, so you can use it just like a standard rearview mirror, but the times I've done that are very few and far between. It does take some getting used to because unlike with a traditional mirror, your eyes are not focusing out on a distant object behind the car. It's focusing on the screen itself. So your vision has to adjust from looking far when you are looking straight ahead to looking at something that's just, I don't know, 8, 10, 12 inches from your face. So that does take some getting used to, but after a few weeks, a few months, you don't even notice the change anymore. To me, it's just a really nice quality of life improvement. It's not perfect. Some of the cars on the road, the frequency of their headlights, their LED headlights, just kind of gets choppy, so it looks like other cars' headlights behind you are flashing sometimes. It's not every brand, it's certain brands. I haven't really noticed which ones in particular, but it can get annoying, and in that case, sometimes if somebody's like directly behind me and not moving either side of me, I will flip it into the manual mode. This way I can just have a steady stream of light instead of seeing flashing in my periphery. Unfortunately, I don't think there's anything that can be done about that. It's just the way that cameras work. And the number one feature of the 2025 Ioniq 5 I can't live without is the surround view camera system. So basically what this system does, it uses the forward facing, the mirror mounted cameras, and the backup camera to create a 360-degree bird's eye view of your car. And it has just come in so handy living in the city now. So a little over 2 years ago, I was living in central Connecticut, had a house. I rarely went to cities or anything for very much of anything. So parallel parking wasn't something I did very often. I think I've done more parallel parking in the last 2 years than I had probably since I got my driver's license up until 2 years ago. The surround view camera system makes parallel parking so much easier. And my favorite part about it is that you can see how close to the curb you are without having to get out or parking, getting out and noticing you're still a foot from the curb. You can just automatically adjust it while you're still in the car. Again, this is common on a lot of cars these days, but it's something that I cannot live without anymore. So let's move on to the 5 features that I could care less about. So we're going to start off with the roof rails that they added for 2025. What these allow you to do is to mount crossbars for a bike rack, for hauling kayaks, any of that kind of outdoorsy stuff. I just don't do that kind of stuff. I have a trailer hitch mounted bike rack. When you put things on the roof, it really increases drag. It's going to have a real impact on your range. So personally, I would rather put a bike rack on the back where it's going to have less of an impact on range. And then plus just having to haul stuff over your shoulder. I got a bad shoulder, a separated AC joint. So lifting stuff over my head and putting it on a roof is not something I'm interested in doing. I know some of you probably really like having the roof rails and roof racks, but I just don't use it. Numero cuatro is going to be the rear windshield wiper. Now, I know this is controversial because so many people were so upset that the 2022 through 2024 Ioniq 5 didn't have one. Everyone was super excited when they added it to the 2025. And after 18 months, I can count the times I've turned it on probably on one hand. It's probably less than 5 times. Mostly in snow. I don't go out in the snow as much as I used to because I don't have to drive to an office every day. But in rain, I don't use it because I have the digital rear view mirror, and that does not get blocked by raindrops or anything. So it's really not an issue. I have a better view with the camera system than I would looking out the small back window with the windshield wiper going. It also doesn't clear the entire window, so you're not getting a completely unobstructed view like you are with the digital rear view mirror. So I know it's controversial, but I personally don't care about the rear windshield wiper. Now, I will say if I lived somewhere where it was snowing a lot more than it does here and I had to go drive out in the snow, I would definitely care that I did have the rear wiper. But driving in rain and the occasional snowstorm, it's really not that big of a deal to me. And if you drive an older 2022 through 2024 Ioniq 5, there's always the gecko wiper. I made a video about that. Basically a magnetically and suction cup attached rear windshield wiper that you can install in your car. Number 3, the sliding center console. This is something I thought I was going to use a lot more, and I just haven't. The thing is that for me, the armrest in my 2022 SEL was already in a good position for my seating position, my height. I wasn't really too concerned about having to adjust it. I thought with the 2025, there might be occasions where I'll want it all the way forward or all the way back, like if I have to sneak out the passenger side door for some reason, but those opportunities just haven't presented themselves. So for me, I really don't care if I had it again in another Ioniq 5. We'll see if that's going to be a feature that continues on into the fully redesigned version that we expect in the next few years. Monroe Live did a teardown of it years ago, and it is a very complicated part, very expensive, so it adds probably a decent amount of cost to the car. Number 2, the relaxation seat. So what this is for the driver's seat is you have the little calf rest that folds out, the seat reclines, it lifts up, kind of turns it into a pseudo lazy boy. Now, for me being 6'2", it just doesn't work for somebody of my height. The calf rest just kind of hits the back of my thighs. It doesn't support my legs in any way, so it's not really very comfortable for me. So I just don't use it. And the truth of the matter is, I don't really do enough DC fast charging that I find myself in situations where I actually want to lay back and rest for any amount of time. Do most of my charging level 2 at home and the occasional DC fast charging if I'm doing a road trip down to Philadelphia for Thanksgiving or something, but that's the extent. So again, another feature that likely adds a lot of cost, and I don't know how many people are actually using the feature. If you do love this feature, be sure to let me know down in the comment section. The number 1 feature of my Ioniq 5 I could live without is Smart Park. fitting since I live in the Boston area now. But this feature is just so doggone slow. I don't know who is actively using this feature unless you're using it for a very small use case, which to me is parking it into a very narrow garage space. That's the only time I could ever imagine using it. It's been a fun party trick. I'll turn the car on and just start moving it and somebody will be like, oh my God, what is happening? But in terms of parallel parking, perpendicular parking, to me, it's a completely useless feature. I'll tell you, if I was using the parallel parking feature in some of the areas around here in Boston, I would get honked at mercilessly because it takes 45 plus seconds to parallel park. I can parallel park manually in maybe 10 seconds, if that. People around here do not have the patience for a robot to do a 5-point parallel parking maneuver into a gigantic parking spot. So to me, get rid of the feature or make it a lot better than it currently is. So those are my 10 items. I want to hear from you guys down in the comments. What are your 5 favorite features? What are your 5 least favorite features? I want to see if we have any overlap or if my thoughts here are just completely out of the norm. Be sure to let me know. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Check out my store at ioniqi.com for all sorts of cool accessories for your Hyundai Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6, Ioniq 9, or any Kia EV. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.